Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of my pre-season Arsenal discussions, basically. I do this every year. We have a look at the squad going into the new season. Of course, we are before any pre-season tournaments right now. We're before the Euros. And if you've missed part 1, please do check it out, because you'll notice in the top left corner, I've got a bunch of players up there. These are all the players that I think we should be letting go of this season, whether that's selling or loaning. You can go back and check that out. But it's quite a lot of players. And of course, I'm not saying that they all have to go. It's just, in a perfect scenario, this is what I would like to do. And it's just a bit of fun. And you can see on screen today, it's a little bit different. We've got effectively our best 2 players in every position. And then the areas that I think we need to strengthen in. So bear with me. It's going to take me a while to get through everything. And of course, just remember, it's my opinion. You can have your own. Get in my Discord, tweet me. YouTube comments can be a little bit of a cesspool. So I'd recommend Discord. It is the best place to get me. I mean, I can see every comment pretty much. And yeah, just join the link down below. It's completely free, discord.gg/mgh. But looking at the squads, obviously you can go through the players in the top left. I should probably read them out just in case some people don't know who certain ones are. So we've got Marquinhos there, Tierney, Lokonga, Tavares, Ramsdale, Nelson, and Nketiah, Jesus, Zinchenko, and Partey. Those are all the players that I don't think necessarily need to be here next season, but I think you can expect at least half of them to still be here. Players like Jesus, I don't think we will sell him. It's just, in my opinion, we could probably do without him now. Zinchenko's probably not leaving. I would imagine that Reece or Eddie will stay, one of them. I don't know if we'll sell both, but for sure, Tavares will go, Lokonga will go, Tierney will go, Ramsdale will go. But on the main pitch here, Raya and a new goalkeeper. That is an absolute must. If Ramsdale goes, we need to replace him. Then over on the right side, and again, I need to talk about versatility because we've got so many options. For example, Zinchenko's position is obviously up for grabs, but we do have Tomiyasu over on this left side who could be on the right side. We've got Timber who can play on the left side. We've got Ben White who can play as a centre-back. So just, again, remember, there's a lot of versatility here. And, you know, I've got Emil Smith-Rowe as a number 8 here, but he could also play as Ødegaard's role. You've got Rice, you can play as a DM as well. It's just go with me, okay? Bear with me. So we've got Declan Rice. Oh my God, I'm getting my names mixed up because I was just talking about him. Ben White and Timber on that right side. We've then got Saliba and a new centre-back, potentially. Gabriel and Kivior. Kivior, of course, can play left-back. He can also step into midfield if needs be. And then we've got Tomiyasu, and I think one of the most important positions we need to recruit in this season, left-back. It is a position that we don't seem to have completely sorted. I think Tomiyasu's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I think we can step it up a notch, and that's what this summer has to be. Take what we've got and just step it up a notch. Moving into midfield, we've got Jorginho, who has signed an extra year, but this will be his last year. I don't think he'll be here beyond next summer. So I think it's vital that we invest, with Partey leaving, in a centre mid, defensive midfielder, whether that's a number 8 or a number 6, because of course Declan Rice can play either role. Fabio Vieira and Martin Ødegaard, kind of like that right number 8 role. And then over on the left side, we've got Smith-Rowe and Declan Rice there. Not convinced Smith-Rowe is a number 8, but he slots in there if he needed to. He could also play on the left wing. Over on the right, we've got Saka, and another position that we absolutely need to invest in. A backup right winger is very necessary, in my opinion. We then got Trossard and Martinelli on the left. Perfect. And then up front, we've got Havertz, and with Jesus and Nketiah going, we need a striker. So let's talk about potential signings. So who could the potential targets be going into the new season? Let's take a look at goalkeepers first. One name that we've been linked with so far, I'm going to absolutely butcher their names, aren't I? I think he's Dutch. It might be Bilo. I don't think you pronounce the J. Bijlo, maybe. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not Dutch, and I'm rather stupid. But we have been linked with him. I don't know enough about him. I would presume he's good with the ball at his feet and plays in a similar way to Raya, Ramsdale. You know, that kind of building up play type goalkeeper. But we also have been linked to an ex-Arsenal player, Chesney, who is, of course, still at Juventus, but might not be beyond the summer. Bringing in Chesney would be fascinating, but I'm not so sure about it. It wouldn't be expensive in terms of a transfer fee, but it would be expensive wages-wise. So for me, I'm not too concerned about this goalkeeper role. I would just say let the club get whoever they want. And of course, I mean, they're not going to listen to me, are they? But, other positions, everyone's got their own opinions. When it comes to a second choice goalkeeper, as long as they can step in for Raya and keep us playing in a similar way. Obviously, they're not going to step in and do a better job per se because they're backup. But I would be comfortable with pretty much anyone as long as Arteta really likes him, So either of those two would be fine. Not the most exciting position to talk about. So we'll move on into centre-backs. Now, there are a couple of options. I've added 3. One option that keeps coming up is the youngster at Ajax, and that is Hato. I really, really like him. Captain material. We all know that Arteta's been recruiting young players for a few seasons now that have real quality in leadership, that want to be captains, and he is exactly that. He can also play left back. So again, we're adding in that versatility that Arteta really seems to like. He's young. He'll be very hungry. And I would argue that he could come in as a centre-back or a left-back and do very well for us, but more of a future signing. I'm talking right away, he probably won't get into the first team, will he? Because we've got Gabriel, we've even got Kivior, who would be ahead of him. Up next, we've got Murillo, however you want to pronounce it, Nottingham Forest centre-back. Had a very, very good season. He's got something about this guy. He's so good. He is so, so good. But do we need a left-footed centre-back or do we need a right-footed centre-back? Because Saliba, if he gets injured, I mean, we were an injury away from exactly what happened last year with Saliba going out. We don't have Holding to come in, which you could argue is a good thing, but it would have been potentially Declan Rice stepping in at centre-back, or Ben White having to come out of his position, or Tomiyasu. I kind of think we need to go for a right-sided centre-back. So Hato, Murillo, whilst they're very good options, I'm not so sure we should be prioritising them. They're both left-footed. I think we go for someone like Diomande. This guy was linked with us and many other clubs over the last year or two. He's an absolute tank. And I can imagine he would be very, very good either with Saliba, with Gabriel. It wouldn't matter too much. He could probably play either side. And he's just the perfect player to come in and boost our centre-back options. I really like the idea of getting Diomande, but he would, of course, be very expensive. Now, over to left-back. Not an easy position to recruit for when you're Arsenal, because we don't want a proper left-back, it would seem. We want someone that can effectively what we've done with Ben White. We want a centre-back that comes in as a left-back. Unless, okay, there's one player we've been linked with at the moment, and that is Kadioglu, the Turkish left-back, who is also a winger, who is also right-footed. I think there's been a shift here. I don't think Arteta wants to do the Zinchenko thing anymore. And maybe we will be reverting back to a typical left-back. But again, why would we be looking at someone who isn't even left-footed? It's a strange one. Is Timber going to play as our left-back next season? He started there this season before his ACL injury. Of course, I've got him over on the right side, but he can play as a centre-back, left-back, right-back, midfield, whatever you need him to do. Versatility is key. So Kadioglu being right winger, left back, right back, he's a bit of everything. It wouldn't surprise me if he isn't actually signed to be a left back, but just a fantastic squad player. And of course, I wouldn't recommend you just go and watch YouTube highlights and make your judgment off that. But read into it. Read what other fans have said about him. From what I can tell, he is just such a technician. Very, very good on the ball and not necessarily a defender. So we'll see what happens. But my preferred choice would be Calafiori. This guy has had a fantastic season. Centre-back, left-back, great defender, superb defender. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he could be somewhat available for cheap. I might be wrong. I think I read somewhere that he wouldn't break the bank, but he's on the list of a lot of top clubs. I see him literally as the perfect left-sided option for us. 6'2", comfortable as a centre-back, but can play as a left-back, comfortable in a back three, in a back four. He might be exactly what we're looking for. He is a Ben White, but on the left side potentially. I think Calafiori is one to watch this summer. I don't think Arsenal will go for him, but I think he will end up either staying for one more season or he'll move to a top club. I think he's going to be a really good player. But there's two options there. But of course, again, I'm only throwing names out there because I like the look of them, and who knows what's going to happen. We'll move on into centre mid or DM, kind of a mix of both potentially with anyone we get. The first player I'm going to mention is Fofana. I think he could be a very underrated player. I've seen him play for Monaco a few times, and he gets into the French squad for a reason. He is an engine. He's left-footed, so he'd go into that left centre mid role very well. I would expect he could play at DM very comfortably as well. Very good with the ball, powerful, athletic, exactly what you're looking for in a number 6 or a number 8. And, you know, there's a reason I've called this position the CMDM. A bit of anything, really. We've also got Bruno Guimaraes. Apparently could be available for around 80 million, but that is a lot of money for a position that, whilst we might need him, we might need someone there if Partey leaves. If Partey stays for another season, then I don't think this position is as important. So it really does depend on what happens. But also, we've been linked with this guy for a few seasons now, Zubimendi. I've heard multiple times that he wants to stay, and then I've heard multiple times that if he does leave, he wants to go to Arsenal, he wants to play for Arteta. He is quite literally the number 6/number 8 that has been linked with us for a while now, so wouldn't surprise me if we get more links with him in the next coming few weeks. I'll be interested to see how he gets on in the Euros, if he's called up for Spain. I'm pretty sure he will be, and if he gets a position, if he starts, because I haven't seen enough of him for Real Sociedad. I don't watch La Liga as much as I would like to. So, yeah, that's definitely an interesting one. Over to right wing now. This is vital because if Saka's injured, we literally do not have a right-sided specialist, a left-footed player, someone that can come in and just try and help if Saka's out, because the drop-off is insane without Saka. So here are I've got two names here. The first player I'll talk about is Bakayoko, but I just don't see how we would be able to convince him to join. He will want to be a first-team player, and he would absolutely be behind Saka. But this is the level we're talking about. We need to be bringing in players like Bakayoko who can fight for that position and push Saka to once again elevate, to improve again statistically. Saka just had his best season stats-wise, and I would argue it wasn't even his best season. And a signing like that is what pushes a player. So Bakayoko is definitely up there for me. But it could be that Kadioglu is an option for right wing as well as left wing. Could be another reason why we're looking at him. Another option, of course, is Elise. However, I believe other teams would play him more, and he could potentially expect, well, just more minutes, more time. I think Manchester United, I think Chelsea, I think even a Tottenham or whatever, he could do very well. I just don't see how he gets into the Arsenal team if everyone's fit, and he should play. He should play. So a tough one, really. Right wing is just crucial, though. I really believe we need a right winger. Put it this way, if I was starting an Arsenal career mode right now on FC25, I'm buying a right winger. Now, let's talk about strikers. We've wanted strikers for years, and we finally signed one, but we didn't sign him to be a striker. Jesus as well. I'm talking about Havertz, of course. We signed him to play in that number 8 role to effectively replace Granit Xhaka, who went on to win the Bundesliga. Fair play to him. Unlucky Leverkusen in the Europa League final. But it's funny how Havertz has turned into our number 9. And Jesus obviously has been disappointing at times. So we need to bring in a number 9. And I would go for potentially Xerxes. I really like the fact that, similar to Havertz, he's a big guy. He's 6'4" or whatever. He's a commanding player in the box. He jumps, he wins headers. Simple. Same like Havertz. But a lethal finisher, great with the ball at his feet. I think him and Havertz are quite similar in a lot of ways. Another option we've got, of course, is Sesko, a player that's been on the radar for Manchester United for a while. I don't know how likely this would be, but I'm reading everywhere he's linked with Arsenal. And it's a strange one, but again, very similar to Havertz. Tall, good in the air, but a raw finisher. However, and this is a big however, Does signing Sesko or Xerxes or any of these other players that are kind of on the cusp of getting into the team, does that elevate us enough to win the league? Maybe not. So that's where names like Osimhen still come up for me. Are we actually looking to win the title? Are we actually looking to elevate? I keep using that word elevate, but it's true. We need to go one more step, right? If we actually want to win the title, I'm just not sure Bakayoko, well, that's a backup player. But if we're trying to sign a new starter, I don't think Sesko is good enough. He isn't a starting striker for us potentially. I would argue that Kadioglu wouldn't be good enough. Hato and Murillo wouldn't be good enough. We need to sign potentially one or two just rock star players that get into the team straight away. So we'll see what happens. I think this position here in midfield is very important in terms of starting the season, because we don't really want to do a whole season with Jorginho in midfield. And if we do, I mean, we could put Declan Rice in at number 6, but I just think we've unlocked something special there with him at number 8. It's a really difficult option. It is. But I imagine one of the most important signings we'll make is a midfielder, and it always is. But that's part 2, guys. The players that I would potentially look to bring in, players that I, would like to lose, sell, loan. They're in part 1, so make sure you go ahead and check it out. But I think our chances going into next season with a couple of really good signings are very good. Very good indeed. But of course, we'll see what happens. We've still got, 2 months until the new season starts. We've got a huge international tournament in between. We've got all the rumours. Oh, it's going to be a long summer. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.